Okay, so let's start with the webinar. So again, welcome everyone to this webinar. I'm sure it will be pretty informational and exciting for all of us here. My name is Evgenia Kostanaya. I'm the Global Coordinator of the UN Ocean Decade Endorsed Program for Early Career Ocean Professionals, or ECOP program. So this webinar is part of our webinar series, and this is already our episode number 32. And today we'll be talking about the UN Ocean Decade. The exact topic of this webinar is UN Ocean Decade, Call for Decade Actions, and Ocean Connector. I'm very excited about this webinar because we have been having so many questions about the UN Ocean Decade, how to get involved, how to participate in the calls for decade actions. So we decided to have this webinar today to give you these answers. And I'm very happy to introduce our three amazing guest speakers today, my colleagues from the IOC-UNESCO. They will be talking about the UN Ocean Decade today and providing you with all the essential information. So the three amazing speakers today are Monique Lima, Nana Kim, and Carol Micheletti. So Monique acts as operations officer at the Ocean Decade Coordination Unit with IOC-UNESCO. So the Decade Coordination Unit is the department which is ultimately responsible for coordination and management of the UN Ocean Decade. Monique is from Brazil, and she has a bachelor degree in environmental engineering and an MSc in oceanography, both by the University of São Paulo. She has been in the Ocean Decade Coordination Unit since 2021, working in the operations team, where she is responsible for overseeing the whole life cycle of the decade actions in the Ocean Decade. She is working closely with Carol Micheletti, who is Assistant Operations Officer at the Decade Coordination Unit. She supports the management and monitoring of decade actions. She holds a master's and bachelor's degree in international relations from the Federal University of Santa Catarina, Brazil, and specializes in international scientific collaboration in ocean science. And our third speaker, who is a project officer, again, at the IOC of UNESCO, is Nana Kim, who coordinates the Ocean Decade Capacity Development Facility, or CDF. You will hear this term quite often today in our discussions. Nana leads capacity development initiatives under the decade and is pleased to share the launch of Ocean Connector. This is the Ocean Decade Capacity Development Facility platform, which will allow ECOPs to explore and access new opportunities. So this is our plan for today. We will have two presentations, one about the current call for decade actions and about the UN Ocean Decade as a whole by Monique and Carol. And then we will move to Nana for the presentation on the Ocean Connector. So we will have a joint Q&A session after both presentations. So we highly encourage you to post any questions you might have in the Q&A section as we go. So at any point that something is unclear, please post your question there, and we will either tackle it immediately or afterwards, after two presentations. So we will try our best to answer any question that you will post there. Please do not post any questions in the overall chat. So the chat is kept only for introductions or maybe sharing the links to your website or to your LinkedIn profile. Any networking is very welcomed, but please do not post your questions in the chat. So this webinar is being recorded, and once it's all done and uploaded to our YouTube channel, we will also share it on our social media channel. So you will be very welcome to share it with your colleagues who are not able to join today. Right, so this was it, I think, about the housekeeping rules. And just before we start, I think we will just launch some introductory polls just to understand our audience a little bit. So I will just share. There are 5 questions that we usually ask our audience about where you come from and how much you know about the UN Ocean Decade. So that will help us to understand the level of awareness of the UN Ocean Decade. So let us just quickly go through this. So I hope you can see it. Naomi, could you just confirm you can see the poll?
Yes.
Thank you. Right, so the first question is, we would just like to know whether you are an ECOP or not, just to understand our audience. So as a reminder, an ECOP is, according to the official definition in our program, is someone within 10 years from their last professional education. So we don't have an age definition for an ECOP. So this is the first question. The second question is, in which field do you primarily study or work? Again, this is to understand which sectors we are reaching out to. The third question is just to understand our geographical outreach. So we are asking where from you are joining us today. And the fourth question is, what's your area of interest or work? Again, a little bit more detailed than the previous question. And then one question about your level of experience with the UN Ocean Decade. So whether you have a lot of experience or no experience, that would really help our speakers today to better engage with you. So I'll just give a few more moments for you to respond to these questions, and then we will start with our presentations. So actually, I can see that we have almost half and half, so about now it's about 60% of ECOPs against 40, more or less. And then most of our participants work in academia. In terms of geographical representation, it's Northern America, Western Europe. Yeah, these are the most represented regions. Also Northern Europe and Caribbean. Some regions are not represented at all, but this is probably, of course, because of the time difference now. It's quite late in Asia now and in the Pacific. And then your area of work or interest, yes, data science and oceanography, of course, citizen science and policy. And now we go to the most interesting question here about the level of experience with the UN Ocean Decade. So interestingly, 45% have answered that they have no experience with the UN Ocean Decade. So I think this is a very interesting outcome for our speakers today. So I hope this gap will be tackled today during the webinar. Right, okay. Right, so I will stop the poll now. Right, here you can just see, I think all of you can see now the results. Right, Right, and then we are done, so I hope you don't see it anymore. Right, so I think we're done with all the formalities. Thank you so much for participating in this little survey. Okay, so then we are, I think, ready to start with the actual presentation. So I can't wait to hear the presentation by Monique and Carol about the UN Ocean Decade and call for decade actions. So over to you.
Thank you, Evgenia. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. It's a pleasure to be here and explain a little bit more of the calls for decade actions. I'm going to share my screen, so let me know if you are all seeing it, my presentation. Okay, one moment. Yeah. Can you see any presentation mode?
It's coming up now. Yeah. Yes, all good now.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so this presentation is going to be split between Carol and I, and I'm going to give you an overview of what are the calls for decade actions and the types of decade actions, and Carol will go over the steps to submit and benefits of endorsement. So about the scope and process. So as foreseen in the implementation plan of the Ocean Decade, we have the calls for decade actions. And these calls usually happen twice a year, so every April and October. And they are an opportunity for new decade actions, new initiatives to join the Ocean Decade ecosystem. So currently we have the 10th call of decade actions open. It opened in 15th of October, and it's going to be open until the 31st of January 2026. And as we know that we have a lot of vocabulary that is very specific to the Ocean Decade. So based on what is defined in the implementation plan, we have here a definition of decade action, which is tangible initiatives that will be carried out across the globe over the next 10 years to fulfill the decade vision. These are focused on the advancement and application of knowledge to support the development of solutions and are not policy perspective by nature. And in this big group of decade actions, we have 4 types. We have programs, projects, contributions, and activities. And when we do the calls for decade actions, we usually focused on the first 3, so programs, projects, and contributions. Activities, they usually go through a different submission, review, approval, and reporting process. So that's why they are not included in the calls for decade actions. But you can submit any time of the year if you believe that your proposal is an activity. I'm going to focus now on what we mean by programs, projects, and contributions in the calls for decade actions. But we always welcome you to read the implementation plan, where we have all the definitions and everything that is expected for the implementation of the Ocean Decade. So for the calls for decade actions, we have 3 parts. For the first part, where we have the program solicitation, we are looking for global initiatives, and they have to cover one thematic or one entire ocean basin. And I will go over the criteria that define a program soon. But what we are expecting for this call first is that those that would like to submit the program need to submit an expression of interest, which is kind of a partial submission to ensure that the DCU can take a look and see if it's actually a potential program or not. And then if after analyzing this proposal, we believe that it will be invited to submit a full proposal. And if it's not, we might redirect it to another category or even reject it and ask for improvements for another submission in a future call. So for this call in particular, we are expecting 3 main things. That the proposal is in alignment with the priorities outlined in the Barcelona Statement and the broader Vision 2030 process, all those that occurred and were very much discussed in depth in the 2024 Ocean Decade conference that happened in Barcelona. I think Carol will share the link to the Barcelona Statement and Vision 2030 so you can be more familiar with. The proposal needs to have synergies and propose collaboration with existing decade programs. So currently we have around 62 decade programs. And if you're not familiar with them, in the Ocean Decade webpage, there is a tab just for the decade actions, and you can filter only the programs, and you can get acquainted with all the decade programs that we have that cover all sorts of thematic and regions. And last but not least, the proposal has tangible means by which the science and knowledge generated by the program will inform decision-making and contribute to sustainable development, which is one of the major things that we are looking for in a program currently. So we have this particular expectations for programs, but there is also the minimal criteria that need to be met before you submit. So I will go over that in a second. But I would like to also cover the second part of the call, which is the project solicitation. So usually projects are discrete kind of proposals that can happen in a regional, national, subnational, local scope. They're usually shorter, and we expect the projects submit to a program. This is a process that facilitates our job in an administrative way, because we have way more projects than we have of programs. But mostly is to foster collaboration between initiatives that have similar scientific objectives. So, for example, we have one of our programs, CBAT 2030, which is committed to map all the ocean seafloor by 2030. And so, but if you have a project that has a similar objective, but is focused, let's say, in a basin in your country, in a smaller area, but is also focused on this, you can be hosted by CBAT 2030 and have this collaboration between program and project. So currently in the call, we have 23 programs soliciting projects. So they have listed their thematic, geographical, and other priorities. And you can also have access to their website and to focal points. And we advise that you contact your program of interest before submitting to ensure that your proposal is actually in line with what they are working on. And we understand that also sometimes this contact is not successful, and this shouldn't stop you from submitting. So if the deadline is approaching and you haven't heard from the program that you're trying to submit to, please just go ahead, because the programs will be responsible for reviewing your proposal alongside the DCU, and they will be able to say also during the review process if there is a synergy or not. This contact beforehand is just to facilitate this whole review process and make sure that the proposal that you're submitting can be a good fit for the decade as well, and it might need any other improvements before submitting. And last but not least, we have the contribution solicitation, which decade contributions by definition are decade actions that provide any kind of financial or in-kind support to the ocean decade or to the decade actions. And they need to have 100% of their resources secured. Contributions in general are accepted throughout the year, but we make sure to emphasize them during the calls for decade action, so people are aware of this kind of category, and also to streamline the review process when we receive them, so we can review everything in one process. If by any reason you miss the deadline, that's okay. You can submit your contribution in other times, regardless if the call for the corrections is open or not. moving on, so here is the basic criteria that I was talking about. So we have that specific requirements that I mentioned in the previous slide, but we have the minimum requirements that we expect the KID program to meet. So your proposal has to have a lead institution responsible for leading the program, and that is in international in scope and has experience that matches the ambition of the program. The proposal will last for at least 4 years. The scale of the proposal is of global reach or is at least covering a full ocean basin. The proposal is multidisciplinary in terms of thematic and human resources. The partners are from different countries and mainly from the regions the program will take place on. The proposal has clear elements to promote capacity development, is a new addition to the Ocean Decade, dealing with thematic or a region that has not been covered yet by the other programs. It has 5% of its budget secured. It has reliable funders or is looking for funders to secure a proposal budget partially in the future, and has the capacity to host and support coordination of decade projects to be solicited through the calls for decade actions. So when you're submitting your expression of interest, this checklist will be available there. So feel free to download it and make sure that you meet all these points. If you don't meet any of them, or just a few of them, we advise to reconsider submitting to another category. Here on the project solicitation, we have all the programs that are participating here, that when you access the guidance note and go to Annex 1, you're going to see these programs listed there with their priorities. So one of the programs including is the ECOP program that we are here supporting this webinar. But feel free to also submit to any of these other programs if you believe that your proposal is in line with any of their priorities. And last but not least, from my part, I would like just to go quickly over on the deadlines. So if you are submitting an expression of interest, you need to submit your EOI by 5 of December, which is very close. It's in 1 month already. And if you are successful in moving forward as a potential decade program, you will be invited to submit a full proposal that the deadline might be between the end of January and early February. If, however, you're redirected to be a decade project, a potential decade project, then you go to part 2 of this flowchart, which is trying to find a decade program that fits your proposal, and you have until the 31st of January of next year to submit your full proposal. And if you are also a decade, if you are planning to submit a decade contribution, or you're indicated by the EOI to submit a decade contribution, it would be advised. It is advisable to submit by the 31st. But in case you need more time, that's fine if you miss the deadline. Okay, it's just we'll always make sure to emphasize that this category exists and that people might be interested in submitting and having it reviewed and endorsed in a shorter time. So this is all I have to say about the call specifically. Carol now, my colleague Carol, will go over the steps to submit and what you can expect as benefits for being endorsed. So Carol, over to you.
Thank you, Monique. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So in terms of the steps to submit, we can go to the next slide. First of all, you should go to the Ocean Decade website. You can see the link here in the PowerPoint, and Monique will share it in the chat as well. So first of all, go to the call page on the Decade website, read through the documentation. There's an FAQ there, there are the guidelines for the call, there are the links to different background and supporting documents. And all of this will help you move through this process, which is really making sure that you have an idea of the right type of decade action. As Monique already mentioned, if you are submitting a project, make sure that you talk to the relevant program before you submit your application, and make sure that you align with their priorities, and then complete the correct online form, as we have 3 different forms for this call. So it looks a little bit complicated saying like this, but once you go into the Call for Decade Actions webpage, it is hopefully quite clear the different steps to follow and the deadlines and who you should be contacting. If we can move to the next slide. So let's talk about the benefits of having your initiative endorsed as a decade action. Once endorsed, we hope that the decade actions can benefit from what we have divided in 3 main pillars. By joining the decade, the action becomes part of a global network that can promote opportunities for collaboration, and also the decade can serve as a platform to facilitate international and national collaboration, and also connect stakeholders at different levels. There's also the facilitation of funding. This is a key issue for many decade actions. And finally, we also have the decade contributing to the visibility and reach of decade actions. So specifically for promoting collaborative opportunities, we have several communities of practice which are facilitated groups for the decade actions. And these are voluntary groups that are structured around the decade challenges or similar geographies. And within the communities of practice, exchanges and collaborations take place. So it's really a space where the group itself can provide support for resource mobilization, capacity development, development of communications, among others. We are restructuring these groups at the moment, and we will be migrating them to LinkedIn. So this is a process currently on the way. So hopefully, if you're participating in the call number 10, by the time of the endorsement, the communities of practice will be already on LinkedIn, ready to be used. So the next one, resource mobilization. This is one of the main challenges mentioned by the decade actions. You may already know that the decade is not a funding mechanism, but but the decade's role is to work with funders so that they can align their priorities and resources with the needs of the endorsed actions. So it's a connector role, a matching-making role between philanthropy, governments, industry, international funding mechanisms, and the decade actions. This is not such a simple process, and it takes some time, but it's something that we are committed to promoting. Some of the existing mechanisms are the co-branded calls for funding with funding partners. We also have a philanthropy group called Foundations Dialogue, which is more focused on identifying strategic investments. And thanks to this group, we've been developing a new digital platform that connects ocean-related projects with potential funders. There's also the Ocean Connector, but I won't go into much detail as Nana will explain more about this capacity development platform in a moment. And finally, the Ocean Decade also offers support to help increase the visibility of endorsed actions. And this can include featuring endorsed actions on the Decade website, newsletters, social media channels, also sharing any updates, reports, publications produced by the Decade Actions. The initiatives can also be featured in the Jane Ocean campaign, specifically if the action works with youth or citizen science, if it has citizen science components. And then the Decade can also provide templates, visuals, guidance that the Decade Actions can use to produce their own materials, and also have some support from our communications team to spread the word about the work they are doing. And on top of that, all actions can use the Decade logo in their promotional materials. And I think those are the main mechanisms in place. And I think we can go to the next slide. So we would like to show you some examples of endorsed projects, as they are the most common type of decade action, to give you a better idea of this kind of initiative and how they should be structured. We have Citizens of Surf from Portugal. This initiative connects recreational ocean users like surfers to ocean science, helping them contribute to the Ocean Decade. It's testing new ways to monitor environmental indicators in surfing zones, focusing on 3 main areas, which are climate change, microplastics, and biodiversity. This is a very interesting project that has been underway for a few years now, and it's led by an ECOP. Another example, Korea, Indonesia, Ocean Technology Capacity Enhancement Actions from Indonesia. This project strengthens the skills of early career ocean professionals in Indonesia through advanced training and collaboration with Korean experts. It combines academic courses, hands-on technical training, and joint research, all to build a strong network of professionals committed to sustainable ocean management. This project was endorsed more recently, I think last year, but it's also a committed initiative aligned with the ECOP program. In fact, both projects presented here are hosted by the ECOP program, but I think we can share in the chat as well the webpage with all endorsed projects. We have almost 600 projects. So you can also take a look at the type of decade actions previously endorsed. Also take a look at the program level, contributions level. All this type of information is good to have an idea of how you can propose a decade action to be accepted through the calls for decade actions. If we can move to the next slide, please. So if you have any questions during the submission process, please do reach out to us. The email address oceandecade@unesco.org is regularly checked, and we are happy to answer any questions you may have during the submission process. It's important to note that the endorsement will be made in mid-2026, around June and July. So the whole process takes around 6 months or more, depending on the need of supplementary information and other types of follow-ups that can happen during the review process. So decisions should be made, the first batch of decisions should be announced in mid-2026. And finally, please make sure that you have the right contact details, and also make sure that you add the Ocean Decade email address to your contact list, as we have had some issues in the past with communications ending up in people's spam folders and missing important communications. So I think those are the main things that we wanted to convey as sort of a succinct presentation of what were the main elements of the call for decade actions number 10. So now I hand over to Evgenia.
Thank you so much to both of you. I think that was a very informative presentation, and the one that has answered a lot of questions that we usually get. So thank you so much. So I just want to comment on this to say that indeed the ECOP program over these years, we have received quite a lot of project applications, so projects to be hosted under the ECOP program. So now we are hosting 16 projects that we received from these calls for decade actions. We had even more project applications, but those sometimes are either not confirmed or diverted to be hosted under other programs or contributions sometimes. So indeed, we, I think, got quite a lot of interest in this field. And we always welcome in every call, we welcome new proposals. The only thing that we really need to highlight is that these proposals should be working for ECOPs, with ECOPs. So ECOPs should be a really very important dimension and focus point of this proposal. Okay, so and then let's go over to Nana. So Nana will tell us about the most recent platform of the UN Ocean Decade Ocean Connector. So let's welcome Nana, and Nana, over to you.
Hi, can everyone see the share screen?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, great. So, hello everyone. Thank you for your time. As Evgenia introduced, I'm a project officer within the Decade Coordination Unit, and today I will be presenting to you the newly launched platform called the Ocean Connector, that is developed by Decade Coordination Unit. So as you see from what is on the share screen, what I will do briefly in the next 15 minutes is actually go over how to use this platform so that you can actually use this platform for your own benefits or for your institution's benefits. So here it is. It's called the Ocean Connector, and it is the landing page for it. And before I actually give you a quick tutorial how to use it, to answer the question what this platform is for, it's specifically dedicated to help find resources for capacity development activities, whether for institution or whether as an individual, for individuals. So for individuals, you have limited access to the platform, whereas for institution, you have more access. And I will later explain what this means. So for first of all, this is based on logins, and you can log in easily through Google or LinkedIn or through Ocean Experts. And what happens is when you land on this page, you can go through it. And for example, as individuals, if you would like to access currently open registration or application that are offering capacity development activities, you can click here and you can see right now there is 3 of them that is currently open, but it's on rolling basis, and it can be any institutions that work with Ocean Decade can actually upload these kind of opportunities that you would like to promote them, and as individuals, you can apply to them as well. So this is just a preview, and when you go to the dashboard, you can actually see the full picture of it. And you can read a guideline to how to use the platform. So you can also click here and a PDF document will be uploaded. And for example, I know that for many of you, you're quite confused. What are all these different platforms offered by IOC? And you can see a repository of all these different IOC platforms that are currently managed by IOC Secretariat. And you can go through them. For example, Ocean Matcher is listed there, but you may have heard of things like Ocean City Hub, OTGA. You can visit their platform, and there's a contact information that you can contact if you want to get to know each of these platforms or resources better as well. So let me actually jump into how a platform would look like. So if you go to home, you will see a page like this. And as individuals, and what I mean by individuals is that you're not representing an organization or institution. You would be only limited to seeing what is currently open capacity development activities. So if you click here, you will see all the lists of currently open activities that you can directly apply to. For example, right now, there is a Blue Grants program that is currently looking for people to apply. And you can see that this is actually organized by YOMSA and is funded through Mindoro Foundation. And the closing date is November 29th. And you can see what is the language of participation and who the target audience is. And if you read it, the summary of who they're looking for, you will get an idea of what this capacity development activity is about. You can directly apply to this program by clicking Apply for Opportunity. And this is applicable for all of them. So for example, if you are looking for onboard vessel opportunity right now, there's one open for 2026. It's called Digital Depth. You can go there and view details. And like I said, go through the information. Its closing is November 30th. You read it through, you directly click Apply for Opportunity, and you'll be directed to the web page. This is on rolling basis, as in we are right now also looking for institutions that you may represent that would like to also upload more opportunities. It doesn't have to be, for example, training or workshop. It can be, for example, if you would like to offer access to infrastructure, or if you have a webinar, it can be any type of capacity development activities. So this is what we offer to individual for looking for capacity development activities. However, if you are an organization, for example, I'm sure as ECOP, let's say you work for YOMSA, and this is just an example, and you know that, for example, YOMSA is offering a webinar or is offering a training, and you want your opportunity to be listed here so that Decade communication team can further promote your activity, and people who are trafficking through this website or platform can see it. What you can do is you can submit an opportunity here. So you will have an array of questions you would have to answer. It's quite short, and you would have, what's really important here is that all of the opportunity that is posted on the platform are they're not open registration in the sense it's not rolling basis. So it needs to have actually a closing date, as in we made this feature so that these are actually active capacity development activities people can benefit from. So you would indicate your registration date, whom this is for, all the array of questions, and you submit it. And afterwards, you can actually manage your own opportunity that you've submitted on behalf of your organization through this feature called View My Submitted Opportunities. And you can actually modify your own information there as well. And I'm going to quickly also introduce a function that is also for actually requesting resources to deliver training or workshop. And once again, this is only reserved to those that are part of institution. So as an individual, you cannot actually access this feature. But for example, once again, as a maybe an ECOP, you're working for, and this is just one example, you're working for, once again, WIOMSA or another institution based anywhere in the world, and you know that your organization is trying to right now deliver training or workshop. As you know, delivering a workshop or training is very resource intensive. You not only need if it's an online, you need a platform to deliver it. You need maybe experts to deliver the sessions. You need maybe financial resources. Any of it, what you can do is if you face resource constraints, you can actually submit a request through this feature called Submit a New Request, and you would answer a set of about 27 questions where you're asking support to Decade Coordination Unit to help you actually deliver this training or workshop. So for example, you would answer a question like, oh, I'm trying to run a workshop. It's a on-site and the delivery country is, it's an example, is Brazil, and who your target audience is and what the theme of the training that you're trying to deliver. Are you looking for funding to organize a workshop? Are you needing help to bring more participants to your training? For example, your training is taking place in Portugal, but you would like to invite 10 young LDC participants to benefit from this training. Are you looking for such type of funding, or are you looking for access to training material? So you need to really indicate what you need. After you submit it, and you can also save drafts, so you don't need to finish all of it in one sitting. What happens is you can track, sorry, one second. You can track all of your requests that you've ever submitted. And these are not real data because we haven't actually publicly launched the platform. So we were testing it, and I'm just showing you so that you get an idea how it works. And after you submit it, IOC Secretariat, the coordination unit will actually review the request you submitted and will see whether it's aligned to the Ocean Decade mandate and whether it's something that is along the applied ocean science. And what happens is once this is submitted, all the institutions that are currently registered to the Ocean Connector can actually view your request that has been submitted. So partner institutions can go to, for example, view requests for training and workshops, and they can see who are looking for right now resources. So for example, match ongoing means these requests are looking for partners to help them actually match the resources. And it can be financial resource, it can be in-kind resource, as I explained before, and you can view details, and you, as an institution, you can express interest to say you want to actually help out this training or workshop that they're looking for, and you can see the detailed information of what is submitted of the application. Also, as someone that has submitted the request, once you actually get matched with resources, and this can be, for example, this is again really an example. For example, WIOMSA submitted a request, and what happens is, let's say all other partners can see this request that has been submitted via WIOMSA, and a partner, maybe let's say in Europe or maybe in somewhere else in the world, say this is something they wanna match resources with, and they actually offer a package of resources. And what happens is the organization that submitted the request will receive an offer like this, where they have specific information what the offer is about, and you can accept the offer or you can further request clarifications. Once you accept the offer, you will actually have a project ongoing agreed between the partner and your institution. And you are able to manage your whole project through here. And also just another feature I would like to show is in the notification settings, you can actually add preference on things you want to be notified on. So for example, if you want to be notified on different capacity opportunities that are available, you can indicate, for example, you want to be notified on mentorships. And if you add a preference, every time there's a new mentorship, you get an email saying there is a new mentorship opportunity available for you to apply. So that's how you can manage it. And just lastly, for those who are curious on what the capacity development facility has done so far through the Ocean Connector, you can see the ongoing portfolio we have, and it's through, and this site will be shared with you after the presentation. You can see a live dashboard of all the beneficiary that has so far been gone through the capacity development facility. So for example, we were able to fund this year 72 ECOPs to go to different training and workshops. And you can see that we've reached 34 countries, and so there's a gender about 50-50 balance between females and males. And also you want to know what are the trainings we funded this year, and you can see that these are all the courses we have, trainings we have supported through the request section. And for example, the one training, for example, the Coastal Ocean Environmental School on Kauai's Waiau is actually a ECOP training that we help to fund. So if you as an organization and as an ECOP, if you have a really good training and you need resources to deliver this, please feel free to submit a request and we can help to actually make your training possible. And lastly, you may be curious, what are the next year trainings and workshop in the pipeline? And this is on rolling basis, but this is what we have confirmed so far. You can see this also what we are planning to deliver next year as well. So that's it for now. I guess we will have, if there are questions, we are happy to answer them. So I guess back to Evgenia.
Yes, so thank you so much, Nana, for this brilliant presentation. Please check the chat because there are some, the links that Nana was talking about, so they're all there. So if you want to check the information about the capacity development facility and the Ocean Connector, you will find the information in the chat, as my colleague Naomi has just posted that there. So please make good note of those resources. Then we will launch now a quick poll on Nana's presentation. Let me just get to this. This is really regarding the Ocean Connector. And this poll has only 2 questions. So the first question, do you have any specific questions or challenges regarding using the Ocean Connector platform? I know we have 1 question in the box already. Please type them in the poll box. We'll make sure to follow up on any that are not addressed during the live discussion. So please make sure to post them. So Nana will take care of this. And question number 2, if you are representing an institution and would like to submit requests or share opportunities through Ocean Connector, please leave your email address and the name of your organization below. We will follow up with you directly. So then Nana will directly reply to you to directly communicate with you regarding your question. So I will just leave you with these questions for a few minutes so that you can think about it and type either your email or your questions here. And then we will get back to our Q&A section. So in the meantime, again, feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A chat, and I will tackle one by one. We will answer all your questions just in a few moments. Thank you. So I will give you a few minutes to answer these questions now. So in the meantime, I will also post a few links about the ECOP program. For those of you who are not familiar, there will be some vital links about how to join our program, and the links to some of our databases which you might find useful. So I'll just post them now in the chat. So just to answer you the question about ECOP Somalia, ECOP Somalia has just been launched. So you can find the email, the web page for ECOP Somalia on our website. So it's officially launched, and you can reach out to the coordinators directly. I'll be just posting the link shortly. But please, if you have any question, please post it in the Q&A section, because your question might be lost in the chat. Thank you. Right, so I think, yeah, I think we can close the poll now and move to the Q&A section. But again, if you have any questions or challenges regarding the Ocean Connector platform, please post them in the Q&A section, as we need to move to the Q&A session now. And if you didn't have the time to put your email, please also put that in the Q&A section. But I will be now closing the poll. Right. Just a second. Right, so I will stop sharing the poll and we will move to the Q&A section. So I hope everyone who has submitted their questions so far was able to find the responses, because we managed to respond most of those questions. So I hope you found all these all the replies to your questions in these sections of answered questions. We have one question left. So the question reads like this, and I believe this is for Carol and Monique. So the question is, we must have had consultation with endorsed existing decade programs in the preparation of the expression of interest. Is there also a situation the program will not reply to our email? So I think this was mentioned, but Carol or Monique, could you please again reply to this question?
Yes. Thank you, Evgenia. Carol, feel free to jump in to complement the answer. So I was trying to type to answer this question, but I believe that it was better to explain in video. So I'm not sure if the person that asked is confusing things, but at the same time, I think it's a relevant question for the EOI specifically. So because one of the things that we expect is that if you wish to submit a decade program proposal, and one of the expectation is to have alignment and collaboration with the existing decade programs, then yes, it would be interesting to contact the ones that you believe that would be interesting to have any sort of synergy with your proposal, but it's not a must. So there are cases that the programs won't reply, and this happens. We received a lot of proposals that tried to reach out to programs and they didn't reply before submission. So yes, that can happen. But I don't know if you got confused with EOI and decade projects. So in case if you are wishing to submit a EOI, you can contact the existing programs to see if your decade program proposal is in synergy with existing decade programs. And if you wish to actually submit a decade project, then you don't go through the EOI, you go through a different form, the form that is specifically for decade projects. And if you are submitting to a decade program, if you find there is a program that is aligned with your proposal, then we advise that you contact them before you submit to ensure there's actually the synergy, everything that is expected from the program and yourself are in line before you submit your proposal. So I'm not sure if that's clear, but that's why I wanted to address it live to make sure that we don't get confused with what is expected of an EOI and what's expected for a decade project proposal. Yes, Carol.
And as a reminder, programs are these global, really large initiatives that will be soliciting projects in future calls for decade actions. So if you are proposing a program, there should not be overlaps, but synergies with other existing programs. So you should be contacting other programs to see if there is no overlap, as we should not endorse programs working on the same thematic, as those synergies should be created and no overlaps. So just as a reminder that programs should contact other programs to see how they could collaborate. But as a reminder, programs will be soliciting projects in future calls. So if your initiative cannot host this type of initiatives, then a project will be more suitable.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much. And we so maybe on a similar point, once we are on this subject. So I often get questions. What is the difference between a program and a contribution? Because there are all, both types. There are those kind of big initiatives and global actions. Could you please maybe just with examples explain the difference between the two? Because I often feel that this is one of the confusions that I see among our members.
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference that we see between programs and project and contributions is that contributions are a specific kind of decade action that provide financial or in-kind resources to the ocean decade, to the implementation of ocean decade, or to the decade actions. So one very good example are the co-branding calls. So usually have, especially with GPI Oceans, which is a big partner of ours, they launch these calls, these co-branded calls with us, where they have a specific thematic, and they will fund the projects that are approved in their call, and the projects that are funded in their call will also go through us to be endorsed as decade actions. So this is a type of decade contribution where there is a financial aspect to it that provides funding to the decade actions, which we know that is a major issue when trying to implement a decade action. Of course, there are other types, but I think the co-branded calls are a good example of this. And when we're talking about decade programs, we're talking about those actions that are in the forefront of the ocean decade, the ones that will be thinking strategically and will have a very main role in how to discuss and prioritize the science that they are talking about, and leading and having this leadership cooperation with the decade projects. So these projects that somehow collaborate to their main goals when they share this the same goal within the proposal. Carol, please.
Just to add a few examples of decade contributions, for example, expeditions, vessels that the proponent open some space for decade actions to use the ship to collect some samples or to spend a few weeks in an expedition. So this is a type of contribution that we often receive. Another example, an equipment that will be collecting data and providing this data to a specific decade program. This can also be endorsed as decade contributions. So it's more like the type of initiative that can fit in with data or opportunities for the already endorsed decade actions, especially programs. And this type of initiative should have all funding secured to be implemented. So 100% of the funding should be secured for decade contributions.
Yeah, and we understand that sometimes your proposal might fall in a gray area. So if you are uncertain of what is the best category of your proposal, feel free to reach out to us, and we can try to see what would be the best fit for your proposal.
Thank you very much. I think it has become much clearer. Thank you. And then let's go to another question. So Anna has posted one question about the ocean connector that Nana has replied to in the chat, but I think it would be also interesting for the audience. And I would kindly ask Nana to just reply to this also now, maybe with some more details, because I think it's a very interesting question. So Anna was asking, how can ECOPs or smaller institutions without formal decade actions contribute to or benefit from the Ocean Connector platform? So just a few sentences on this.
Yeah, so the size of the institution actually does not matter. whether you can submit a request or upload opportunities on the platform. What matters is you actually just legally represent an institution or an organization, and you, at the time of submission of requests to the platform, you don't actually need to be already have ticket actions. So for example, we've had cases on where we have supported trainings where they weren't decade activities or actions yet, but by the end of the request process and it was approved, approved by the decade coordination unit, they retrospectively apply for decade action or as an activity. So you don't need to be a decade action at the time of submission, but retrospectively you have to be. And another question that I do think is important, for example, if you're on ECOP, and if your university is willing to submit a request, so for example, if you are part of University of, I don't know, like Montreal, and you know that your university is okay with you submitting this request as University of Montreal delivering this training or workshop, you can also submit a request as you representing your university as well. And this has been already done in one of the trainings we have supported. So it's quite flexible. So if you have questions, please just reach out to me and I would be happily answer them via email.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so you see Ocean Connector is really a platform that can be used by various stakeholders. And I think for you, please feel free to share the information that you have received today. And please feel free to share the recording once we have it. So talk to your, management if you're working at an institution, or to your university colleagues, because we are sure that this information will be very interesting to all your peers and colleagues as well. So do we have any other questions or comments towards this both of these presentations? So there was a question about the ECOP Caribbean, so I posted the link. Yes, we have the node in the Caribbean. And again, just a note, if you have any questions about the call for decade action, so Monique and Carol are always happy to reply and to confirm, to give you advice, etc. Also, don't forget about the activity, the possibility to endorse an activity in case you are having any conference, any workshop that could be also endorsed. This is really great for visibility. I'll give you, we still have a few moments, so we actually have a new question here. Okay, so we have a question. Who can apply for decade calls? Can governmental institutions apply?
Yes, they can. All types of institutions, NGOs, philanthropic organizations, governmental organizations, research institutions, private sector as well. So there's no restriction. So everyone can submit. So all types of institutions can submit proposals in the calls for decade actions.
Great. Thank you. And then we have a question, which is already was answered. So when we say institutions requesting the training, do we mean only universities and research institutions, or can the Ministry of Fisheries also access it? And the answer is yes, it can be any organization, institution, agency, as there are legally accredited entities. So really anyone can benefit from the Ocean Connector. Right. Also, just wanted to let you know, and again, just giving you a few moments to think about any questions you want to raise. So as I said, this is our episode number 32, and we'll be having several more episodes in the coming weeks. So our next episode will be quite soon. So episode number 33. This is actually our follow-up episode, actually a workshop on creative science communication, which is a follow-up to a workshop with the same lecturers and moderators that we had, I believe, some months ago, earlier this year. So this will be a follow-up, very hands-on oriented. So please feel free to register, and Naomi just posted the links and information in the chat. And we'll be having a few more in the upcoming weeks. So please have a look and don't miss out. Again, if you think that you have any topics that you would like us to tackle, we are very open to new ideas. And for example, this one on science communication is a response to many demands, many questions and requests to have a webinar on science communication. So we are finally doing this. All right. Right, so I think we have answered everything, all the questions. Thank you so much for your engagement. This has been really very live today. Thank you so much. So if any of you would like to have a project with us, please feel free to reach out to me. I will also put my email in here. So ECOP program is accepting projects as we are every call. So please feel free to, if you want to chat about your potential project application, you can reach out to me to this address that I'm putting in the chat. Okay, we have another, yes, this is a thank you. Okay, so I think that's all. Thank you so much to all the speakers, Carol, Monique, and Nana. I hope we will see you again for more webinars like this. It has been really a pleasure, and really a webinar that I've been looking towards for a very long time. So thank you. Anytime you would like to share anything new with us, you're always welcome. So thank you so much, and thank you to our audience for your attendance. We have had a lot of participants today. So thank you, and I'm wishing everyone a very nice Wednesday, well, morning, afternoon, or evening, and a very good rest of the week. So thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.